welcome to this episode of Outside the Box videocast. Today is the 9th of October, and with us today we have Lasse and Hampus. We're going to talk about Giant Fanatic today. We were there this weekend, and yeah, we'll talk about our games and what we thought about the tournament, stuff like that. The trip in usual as well, because yeah, some strange events happened that we want to share with you. So yeah, why don't you start, Lasse?
Yeah, sure. Well, the trip went from Uppsala, where you live, through Västerås, where I live, down to Malmö, where we parked the car.
Yeah.
we met up at my place. We met up at my place Thursday night. Just went through the army, double checked, so we had everything with us. Yeah. Discussed some army lists, and I think we also watched a movie. And we fell asleep way too late. I think we had 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And in front of us we had a 7-hour drive down to Malmö. I think we drove at 6 a.m. because Asker asked us if we wanted to join the mental football tournament, which started at 5 p.m. and we wanted some margins, so we wouldn't come precisely when
we wanted some buffer if things went wrong or something like that.
Exactly, and we arrived in Malmö at maybe 1:30 or something like that.
No, it was earlier. It was like 12:30. We started the trip at 6 o'clock from Västerås, and we said that it took 7.5 hours.
No, I think it was exactly 6.5 hours. Yeah. Anyway, so we put the car in Malmö, and we asked for directions to the central station in Malmö, and we were told to take a bus line there, so we did. And everything went really smooth. We paid for a ticket which covered the bus ride in Malmö to the train station and the train from Malmö to Copenhagen, and also a day of free bus pass, a day's bus pass in Copenhagen. Yeah. So everything went really smooth, and Asker had given us very good directions. So I mean, we were at the venue like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, something like that. It was really smooth from Malmö to Copenhagen, or to the venue. It was like everything went so smooth. Waited for 2 minutes here, took 2 minutes there, and then we were at the venue. So yeah, really nice.
From there, everything had gone very smoothly, and we had a bite to eat, and then we helped them set up the tables, and basically we're the Giant Fanatic slaves for the Friday evening.
And then we played mental football games. It was a great game, I think. Seemed kind of balanced. It was hard to take the ball from the person which had it, but when you learn how to defend, it was kind of nice, I think.
What kind of game is it?
It's a board game.
I guess you can compare it to Blood Bowl, but I think Asker like us comparing it to Blood Bowl, but in essence it's more like Blood Bowl than, for example, Warhammer, or chess.
You play soccer with models on the board, and you can, if you are like close to someone and you have the ball, you need to dribble to get past them, and stuff like that.
It's basically a tabletop football game.
Yeah.
Is it homemade or board?
Yeah, he created it.
Who?
Asker created.
Oh, okay.
And I like the game. It's easy to learn, so you get a hang of it pretty quickly. But then as you play it, you realize that there are a lot of hidden synergies and moves that you learn along the way that improves your play. And I like those games, because even though a game is simple to learn, it doesn't mean that you master it by just a game or two. So you really felt that you got better at it as you played.
Oh, okay.
And I think we were 7 or 8 people playing. Would that be right? Or 6 people? I don't know.
We were six people, I think, because we had 2 groups, I think, with 3 in each.
There were 2 Russians and a German, and then it was us and the Trolls, the Danish/Swede. Yeah. But yeah, we really enjoyed the game, and we had a couple of beers while playing it, and everything was just a beer and pretzel kind of game.
Yeah, and then we continued to drink beer all evening, playing some other games, talking, yeah, and the clock.
We discussed a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some very good German players and a lot of good Danish people and Russian people and people from Norway, and it was just natural that we sat and discussed the ETC and our own communities and stuff like that, and those discussions are always very interesting, especially when you mix in some a very expensive Russian vodka and some very cheap Danish
Does
beer.
that really exist? Expensive
Yes.
Russian vodka.
It was called, what was it called? Beluga vodka. So yeah,
Beluga and caviar.
I'm not a fan of vodka unless you mix it with something, but I really enjoyed the Beluga vodka.
Now we're losing you again.
It had some. I mean, it tastes really. Is it better now?
I don't know. Just go.
Anyway, so Friday night was also a very late night. We fell asleep at like 4 in the morning, I guess, and Asker, the dictator, woke us up at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
3 hours later, and then we had like an hour and a half just walking around like zombies at the venue, and we couldn't enter the gaming hall either because they had some stuff to prepare.
But was it
So,
only
yeah,
fantasy or?
I don't know for.
The tournament.
Yeah.
The tournament, 40k, fantasy, Malifaux, Blood Bowl.
Okay.
Some more. I
I
guess.
think there were like 200 people at the venue.
Okay.
Playing different places. Anyway, so then it was a Saturday and it was time for the games to start. And I guess we could discuss the games.
Yeah. Maybe you could talk about all 5 games.
Yeah, sure. I can start out. I just need to tick up all the names because I'm not that mannered, so I remember everyone's name in order. So yeah, first I met a guy called Rasmus Olsen. It was one of my better games, I think, during the tournament. At least from my perspective, he was a really nice guy. I actually voted for him on most sportsmanship because I thought the game was great. He played Warriors of Chaos, which is a good matchup for me. I played the Skaven army, as we talked about before. I played actually the exact same list as Lasse.
So you changed it.
Yeah, I changed it. I skipped the Fell Blade.
He knows a good Skaven list when he sees it.
I know.
Can we put the list up?
Yeah, sure. So here's the list. I think it shows now. No, it doesn't because Skype is in the way. These technical difficulties. There we have the list.
Okay.
So it was a Warlord with Potion Strength, Weeping Blades, 4+ Ward Save, and also he had a Halberd to disguise the Weeping Blades because some people really thought that he had a Halberd, and then they charged in, and there he stood in base-to-base contact with the Weeping Blade Potion Strength guy, which didn't work for me actually. Every time we got him into fights, with that what I wanted, I just failed anyway. So it didn't really matter. Like for example, in the first game, he was almost killed by his Battle Standard Bearer with just a 4+ save. In the next game, he was he was killed or almost killed by the Treekins that I baited into combat and stuff like that. But back to the first game, Warriors of Chaos. He was really afraid of my Brass Orb guy, so he actually scrolled it the first turn. And then I just used 2 Warpsome tokens and went with what?
What did he have? Was it the Hell Cannon?
Yeah, exactly. I had a Hell Cannon. 2 units of Frenzy Warriors, one with a banner and Nurgle mark, and the other with just the Halberds, Mark Korn. Both had a Halberds and shields. I really can't remember the list, to be honest.
No, it's okay. Just need a bigger picture.
Yeah, some H's and what happened to the other flank? Never mind. So the real big thing was that he scrolled it the first turn, and I guess he didn't expect a power scroll, because then I got the power scroll through on the Marco Cohen Warriors, and they were dropped to 3, I think. So then that flank was just won by my abomination, and yeah, from there I rolled him up.
I guess the dreaded 13th and the power scroll is much what makes that matchup so good for the Skaven.
Yeah, really. I played another worst chaos list later, and it was not such a good matchup because he ran the Shaggot, for example, and the Shaggot I can't kill because I only have lightning damage almost, and he also didn't have any chaos warriors, which makes the dreaded spell good because it's not that nice to cast on marauders, obviously. Yeah, back to the next game. Then I played Karsten Luxhøy Pedersen or something like that. Sorry for the pronunciation. He played Woodolphs, and I think he made a big mistake in the deployment because he deployed both the treeman and his I just said the name, treemans and treekins on one flank, and he did it. I outdeployed him because I had more deploys, so I could go with my Doom Wheel on that flank, and then it was really easy for me to just stay 18 or 17 away and just bolt them down. So I got 5 wounds on his treeman, and then the warplating cannon finished it off. And then I ran up with my giant rats in front of his treekins, so they should charge him. I did it so it looked like I wanted to divert him, but I failed, so it just went for the overrun. He overran into my storm vermins, and then we took the combat in my turn, and then I activated the push on strength and thought like, yeah, now I'm gonna kick his ass, but he kicked my ass for like 3 rounds. He hit really good with the treekins, like hitting 75% or something like that, and then he broke me. And then he had a really nice opportunity to break my whole army because he had 3 treekins right in front of my Gracier block, because I really didn't think they would break, but it did. But then he thought that I had an assassin, which I didn't. So he didn't charge. And I was standing in a forest as well, so I wouldn't I wouldn't have been stubborn. But I think I might have if he like killed 5, because I was standing with the front outside, and yeah, I think I could have managed it maybe, but I was really lucky there that he didn't charge, I think.
Considering that you had already used the Weeping Blade, what was he expecting the assassin to
I don't know, to be honest. I didn't want to discuss it because I was like poker face. So don't charge me. Yeah, that was not my poker face, by the way, because yeah, then I would be charged probably. And yeah, so I just moved out of there, and yeah, during this time with all that flank happening in the middle, I had the abomination going. Yeah, I pushed forward maximum first turn. I actually stole the first turn from him. I had more deploys, but I got the first turn anyway. That happened in the first game as well, by the way. It happened in the 3 first games, I think. So I was kind of lucky with that as well. So in the middle, I just pushed forward the abomination, activated the storm banner to keep it alive, and he made 4 wounds in it on long range first turn. That really sucked because the abomination just died after that. But the other flank, on the left flank, went well as well because my gut runners shoot out a unit of archers. In the middle, I panicked one with a Scorch first turn. He didn't have a reroll, so I like took the army from this side while the Doom Will kept the treekins and other stuff on the other side, and yeah. So after a while, I got dreaded. I used this power scroll on his mage bunker, where he had a noble or the highborn, or what's they called. Yeah, the Arcane Balkan guy, by the way. Anyway, the mage and the BSB. He had those in the same unit. And they had like 11 archers left, I think. So I power scrolled it, or yeah, casted dreaded, took away all the archers, and then there were just characters, and then the Doom Will just shot them down. Pretty much. So yeah, that went 19-1 to me, I think. Yeah, I have it here. Yeah, 19-1. And I really got away with it, especially with the treekin thingy. Really great game as well. It was all my opponents were really nice guys. So on that I was really lucky this tournament. Then came the third game. I played a Dark player, Mike Magnusson. He was a friend of Rasmus actually. He played Dark, as I said, and yeah, the game changer in this match was it was really two things. My Warp Lightning Cannon was a god. He killed 2 Dreadlords and a mage. So that was kind of nice. Also, he made one big mistake where he decided to pursue after I had diverted his Black Arch. So what happened was that we had a combat here, and then I diverted him down here, and then he decided to pursue, and I just fled through the combat, and he stopped on the other side, because then he's almost unable to reform, and he was stuck there. So that meant that I could just grind down the other combat, make his Dreadlord flee, and yeah, after that I pretty much took it from there. What happened more in that game? I missed my Brass Orb as usual. I missed it all games. I had, but the disturbing thing in this matchup was that I really thought that my slaves would break, because they only had Leadership 3, I think. They were stubborn on Leadership 3, but yeah, still they had Leadership 3, so they should have broken, and the Witch Elves should have had to overrun or pursue or whatever, and then I would have a good shot with my Brass Orb, but I couldn't get in there because they stood and blocked off the way to the cauldron. And then when I was thinking like, yeah, I can cast it anyway. Cast it from a long
what were you
range.
gonna throw the Brass Orb against?
Cauldron of Blood.
Oh, the Cauldron, okay. Yeah.
And then you really want to stay in, base to base, because then you have a much better chance of killing it. So I wanted to get in close, and then I was like, I can throw it from a long range, because he had the crossbow, what's it called? Life Taker, so he would be dead next turn anyway.
Yeah.
So I threw it from a long way, and I rolled misfire. So if I would be close up, I would have killed it, but yeah. And then it was kind of lucky in the middle as well. And then my gut runners were, he didn't think of them in the start, so I could scout them, and then I just went behind his lines and throwing every turn. And then in the end, I got his bunker down, and yeah, everything just fell apart for him. So he only had a cauldron left at the end of the battle, and I've died. He actually broke my Stormvermins once, I think. No, I needed to flee from a charge. Yeah, and I took flee as a charge reactor from his Witch Elves. That's what happened. And then the Witch Elves got flanked by the Abomination.
How many Witch Elves did he...
No, but they got flanked by the Doomwheel, by the way. The Abomination killed the Black Arch.
Did he have...
How
many Witch Elves did he play?
He was running 20, a maximum unit
20.
At these restrictions. 20 Witch Elves, 20 Black Guards, I think 25 or 30 Spearments, maybe it might have been 40 actually, and then a unit of 10 Corsairs, 20 Corsairs, 10 Spearments, the Cauldron, 2 Dreadlords, 2 Mages, one was level 1 Shadow and the other one was level 2 Death, and then 5 Dark Riders, maybe a Harpist as well. Yeah, probably some Harpists. Yeah, the Harpists diverted the Abomination for 1 turn. I think that was the whole list.
Why did they have a level 2 death?
For snipes, I guess.
Yeah, but then you could just have a level 1.
Yeah, but he only had he wanted 3 spells. If he rolls 12, he wants to use all the dice, I guess.
Oh, that's true.
If you have
he didn't...
2 spells in... If you have 2 spells in death, there you always have. I mean, if you get the aspect of the Dread Knight, you can always exchange it for the Spirit Leech, and all the other spells are nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't have.
He actually had 3 spells in death. Yeah,
okay.
I just remember that.
Yeah.
Then back to that was the first day, so I was looking really nice after that day, because I had 59 points after the first day. It was one of my best starts in tournaments ever, especially since I just had met all the guys were great, good in English. They no real rules, arguments. Everything was solved nicely. Asker was always close to answer rules questions, and since I'm such a bitch when it comes to rules, because I really want to play according to rules, I went a lot to Asker and asked him, and my opponents always felt it was a good idea to ask Asker as well. So yeah, that was nice. Then came the next day. I played on the top table actually versus a nice Russian called Sergei Novik. Yeah, sorry for this. Sergei, I think you say Sergei Novikov. He played Warriors of Chaos, and he had 2 large units of Great Weapon Marauders, one which had Markov Slaanesh, where he ran all his characters, and the other was Markov Khan. He also had a Great Cannon, Demon Prince, Shagot, a Giant, what more? 2 Chariots, something like that. Yeah. This game, I misfired my cannon the first turn, which made it much harder, in my opinion, because I needed versus Giant, and it's nice to wear down the blocks before you go into them as well. Also nice versus the Chariots. Yeah, it's just a great piece to have, and it's in this kind of matchup where you have loads of large things that you want to take out. It's a key piece, because the matchup totally turns when you lose it. The big thing in this game was that I was really lucky with my Doom Wheel. It survived. It had 4 wounds for some turns. It actually took a shard from Hell Cannon and grinded it down. That is insane. It stood on leadership 5 2 times. But it rolled misfire, 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 strength 2, strength 4, and yeah, something more. So it didn't shoot that well. But it survived and took points, so it was a great piece anyway. Another kind of important thing was that we played on the leader table, which had a river going on one flank, that had a river, and then the river split in his deployment zone, like this, and then going over the table like that. So in this zone, he deployed his Demon Prince, and I was able to deploy my Gut Runners as scouts outside his line of sight. It was, I think, a kind of sloppy mistake of him, but so I made 3 wounds the first turn, 3, and then I took the last wounds the next turn, because we played a river, you can't march through it. So I just activated the Storm Banner, he was stuck, then it ended, and then I just shot him down. And then they just pull up and start to shoot the Marauders. In the middle I got a flank shot in with my Abomination in his Corn Marauders, along with the Stormers in front. And the Abomination made 3 wounds that turn. That sucked, because they could strike back with nice force, and then the next turn he put my spell Death Frenzy on them and made 2 wounds, another 2 wounds. So at this point it had taken 5 wounds. Then they broke, and my Abomination was able to flank charge this Shagot, which this was another mistake I made in this matchup, because when he talked about the list, he said that he had an additional hand weapon on the Shagot. And since it's initiative 4, it will strike at the same time as my Abomination, pretty much. But since the original model has a great weapon, I mistook it for a great weapon. So I flank charge him, I killed him, and then he say, now I'm gonna strike back. And I was like, no, you can't, because you have a great weapon. And he was like, nah, I said I failed. So he killed my Abomination there. It was kind of important as well. But yeah, all in all, I think I got away with a 10-10 here. Probably should have won a bit more. Probably, I don't know. For example, the Warp Lightning Cannon is really important in this matchup. So since I lost it in the first turn, it greatly changes the game. And if I wouldn't have lost it, how would the game have gone? And yeah, things like that. He missed with the Hell Cannon all the time as well. He shot for the Doom Wheel actually. I would probably shoot for the blocks, for like the Storm Vermins, reduce them so they can't go into the more orders and things like that. But yeah, it's up to you how you play your Hell Cannon actually. Or actually, yeah, it is.
I guess he was afraid, since he had a lot of monsters, your Doom Wheel would. He was afraid it would do a big difference in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. The giant was slain by my slaves, by the way. But I guess that's kind of average because the giant is such a bad piece. Even when it, I mean, come on. Even when it costs like that, I guess it's on these restrictions. I guess you can play it. But on normal restrictions, when it costs 205 pounds or 200, yeah, depends on what book, I guess. But it's not a good piece. Was it 50 or 100 reduction?
I think it had 100 points reduction. I think it was about around 100 points, 105 points, I think.
Yeah.
Total I can have a look. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, and then it was the last game. I played this on the leaderboard as well. I met the winner of the tournament, Tobias Prento. I think a winner at least. He won, right? Yeah. Also a great guy. Played Ogre Kingdoms, and this matchup, well, this was a great game as well. But I was so close to winning this, really hard. He got the first turn, took out my Warplane Cannon as he should. I guess that's kind of standard as well because it's so accurate at Iron Blaster.
Iron Blaster.
Yeah, so can't complain about that.
It was 100 point reduction for the giants, all giants.
Yeah, then I guess it's good to bite, I guess.
It's just bad. It's not entirely bad.
Yeah, exactly. It has a role to fill because it kind of sucks versus infantry, or at least large infantry units, like elite infantry units. I know it sucks against infantry, but it might be good versus monsters because you have.
I guess it's a 100-point model that draws fire, perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But the problem is that it can't send fire at all, almost. Anyhow, last game. I played Ogres on the leaderboard again, and it was a large house which I had on my side, so I entered the house with my Gracie. I've taken the what's it called, the Crack's Call spell, and some others which I can't remember because I lost them after the first magic phase. I had Skit Leap the whole game, but yeah, he charged forward, stood on a whole line with his whole army. My Doom Wheel shot his Mournfangs, my Gut Runners were running after the Iron Blaster. So things looked really well for me, I think. I was in the house, and from the house I could cast Crack's Call and flank his whole army. I got Irresistible Force, which is great, of course, but then I lost the spell on the first turn I casted it. So then the problem is that I don't really have anything else that can handle it, because I've already lost my cannon, and I've lost the Crack's Call, and I also lost the Scourge and the Warp Lightning. So I really didn't have any damage output in the middle of the board, except for my Abomination, but he had the Iron Guts with Flaming Banner. So I couldn't be all aggressive with that either. So yeah, I was kind of stuck there. He killed my Storm Vermins. I tried to delay him one turn, but he did the right thing and charged in anyway. The thing that I tried to do was that I activated the push on strength in his turn to keep him from charging, and then he charged anyway. Two kind of mid-average charge ranges, like 7 for the Man-Eater Star, and like 7 or 8 for the Iron Guts, the Mournfangs, I guess. And if he failed one of them, I think I would have won that combat. But he got in with both and just crushed me. He broke my Steadfast because I only did 2 wounds with 12 attacks on his Man-Eaters. If I had made 3, I would have been Steadfast for another turn, and my Abomination would have flank charged his Mournfangs. So that was, yeah, kind of sad, because I think I would have won that game. He didn't know what a Brass Orb did. I missed the Brass Orb, as all the other games, and yeah, it was a tight game. He played well. So, But in the end, he had the 3 characters in 3 managers in 1 unit. He had 1 Mournfang that had taken 2 wounds left. I couldn't get those points, and he won with 11-9. So yeah, I guess it was kind of fair after I lost the spell and things like that, because I couldn't really handle the army. But it was really close anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my tournament.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it was really fun. The only downer for me this tournament was my own mistake. I didn't bring. It was so stupid. I didn't bring moment trace for my gut runners, which lost me 14 painting points, and yeah, that sucked.
How did the best painting work?
The best painting was that...
Since you said you lost 14 points?
Yeah, the painting worked like... either you get 1 point for putting your army up for painting. You get 5 points for voting in best painted, right? And then the rest of the points is 2 you have, and there were like several restrictions that you needed to meet, like all bases are in the same color, or in the same theme or whatever. You have moment trace for all your units, including skirmishers, which I had missed. And yeah, there were some other things I can't really remember.
Okay.
And I missed 1 point, and then you lost all your painting. It didn't matter how well the army was painted. If you didn't meet all restrictions, they were really hard and took it away.
Okay.
And it was clear in the restriction pack, but I haven't read it, so that was my problem. But it was obvious, and it was my own mistake. So I don't blame the tournament at all. I think they made the right thing. So, but it's sad for me.
Where did you? Oh, sorry.
In Lagge's defense, he wasn't prepared at all.
No.
At anything. He came to me and he was like, "Yo, so where are we going?"
Almost like that. Is it Copenhagen or Oslo?
Where did you end up?
10th place.
10th place.
I had a VP score of 93. They had a somewhat special victory points table as well. So I had 93 points of the VP, which was 4th best of all. And then I had 12 in the quiz, which was good for being in the top. The quiz was kind of strange. You could Google everything and do whatever you want. I actually had 2 sports nominations, or sportsmanship nominations. I don't know how you say it, but that was really fun to get, because I never get sportsman, because everyone thinks I'm a bitch, I guess.
But
I mean,
what did you say? You had 2 sportsman nominations.
Or two people thought that I don't know. You
got 2 votes.
You get 1 vote.
Okay.
After the first game, you get 1 vote, and you vote for. I don't know what you vote for. The most sportsman.
After game 4, you got a note where you noted the player number of the player who you thought you had the most fun with playing.
Yeah.
So 2 people thought that Lagge was their best, the best sportsman, I guess.
And that's
which is, I think,
impressive,
considering that you had 59 points after 3 games. So
one of them,
those votes.
Yeah.
So that's I think it's really good. And I think I also have to mention something before I forget it. I think that the winner of the 40k tournament was also the winner of the best sportsmanship, and that's really impressive. I don't think it has ever happened in Sweden that someone who has won best sportsman wins the tournament as well. But because I guess people hold a grudge when they're getting beaten. It's like beat me. It's
but maybe he lost all games, but he got a lot of points in painting.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
The soft scores had a major impact on the final score.
Yeah, going there, I didn't think they would have, but when we're there, it was really important. And
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk about all the other scores if we got the time.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
But how did you do, Anders?
I didn't do as well as you wanted in the end, or in the beginning, or in the middle. So
Yeah, I think one game you had a better score than me, so one time you were better. Now I'm just fucking around.
Well, we had kind of different paths during the tournament. But yeah, so I might as well go from the start. My game 1, I played what's his name? Ben Brugger. Played Empire. Griff's steam tank. He had a Hellblaster cannon.
We're losing your sound.
Hello, Death Mage. Really? Is it better now?
No, it's pretty lousy.
Shall we restart the call, maybe? Nah, it won't help me.
I don't know.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Try now, or else just we drop the video from you, and we'll just have the sound.
Okay. But you can hear me at least.
Yeah.
But that's
right now we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, anyway, so we had a Hellblaster and a cannon, a level death, and he had a what?
Your sound is crappy. Try dropping the video and see if it's better.
Okay.
Now it will fuck
Better
up
now?
the video.
Yeah,
boxes.
but it's a special. This is a out of the box special.
If you
So can you hear me
Hampus,
better
if you
now?
move more to your right, a bit more to
Over
right.
here?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
So continue.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, so he had a level 4 death, and he also had a level 1, I think, with something. Maybe. Anyway, and he had 2 units of knights, a couple of roadblocks, and could you invite me to the video again? Because I'm getting very confused, not seeing you.
Yeah, we can do that. Hang on.
Yeah. Thank you. I thought anyway that from the going into the tournament, both me and Johan knew that Empire wasn't going to be a good matchup for the Skaven list. So I wasn't looking forward to that matchup really. The Demogryphs are a pain in the ass. And there are, I mean, they have such good armor save, and there isn't anything to use the dreaded 13th on either. They have the cannon and the steam tank, which cause a lot of problems, and the Hellblaster, to say the least. But I got the first turn, even though he had +1, and I I gambled a bit there because he had put his Demogryphs on the far flank, and I put my Warp Lightning Cannon on the other, well, kind of like center, but to the left. So I had a flank shot on the Demogryphs. So I thought that if I get the first turn, I have a good chance at decimating that unit a lot. And I got first turn, but I blew up my Warp Lightning Cannon, and I panicked a unit of slaves off the table, even though they were leadership 10 with rule. And I said to him, okay, so now you have 6 turns of bad luck in front of you. And he had. Because from that point, the gods were smiling on the Skaven army. And I think it culminated when my Abomination came up with 4 wounds after he killed it and just went through his entire army. And I was like apologizing, and I was like, I'm sorry, it shouldn't be like that, but kill his steam tank and the unit of halberds and the unit of knights. And I also, I think for me the highlight of the game was when, because that was
when the Abomination came back.
No, I don't like it when that happens, because that's just, I mean, that he killed it, I couldn't do anything about. He had too many cannons and he had the Hellblaster. So I mean, I knew it was gonna die sooner or later. And when it did, and it came up again, it was like, you know, you feel kind of bad because it's such a lucky thing, and it changes the game so entirely. Because
you're looking at this from the wrong perspective. You couldn't do anything about the Abomination dying because he had cannons, blah blah yada yada. The thing you said, and it's the same for him. He could do nothing about you bringing back the Abomination on the roll of 6.
Oh, I get it. Not, but the highlight for me was that the Warlord worked very well. I got him where he was supposed to be in the demigryphs, which survived the first turn, of course.
But you killed 2 demigryphs, right?
Yeah, he had the Potion of Strength activated, and he charged them. I hit all the attacks. I think.
Now you're just
guy
gone.
Wounded. I don't know. And very annoying.
Yeah.
Your sound is very annoying. Yeah, today it is.
I don't understand what's up.
Keep going.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll tell you to repeat.
Yeah. Please do. No. So the Warlord made a mess of the demigryphs, and that's. I think it was in the same turn as the Abomination came up, and that was just too much for his army to handle. I also had some Storm Vermins who had charged the demigryphs in the flank, which combat reformed to face his incoming halberd unit. I cast the Death Frenzy to them, and they held their own against the halberds. So I think that if the Abomination hadn't come up, I think he would have won maybe 11-9, maybe 12-8. I might have been able to save the draw, but when the Abomination came up, it kind of sealed the deal, and I won 14-6. So that was a bit lucky, I guess. That the 1 in 6 chance of it coming up really made a difference in this game. But Morten was a really good opponent, and I think he played very well. He made all the right moves, and he was a good gentleman to play with, and he accepted the Abomination returning with a smile, I guess. Inside he was probably crying like a baby, but on the outside he was laughing, at least. No, so I thought that, considering that was a bad matchup, I was off to a good start, 14 points in the first game, and I also felt that he was a competent player, and I felt that made a difference in the strength of schedule, which is the points you get from your opponent's next games.
Do you think maybe he got a tattoo after this weekend that said Ruby Ring of Ruin on his hand or something?
Yeah, maybe. No, but it was a fun game for the both of us, I dare to say. But anyway, game 2, I got to play Rasmus Budde, a former ETC player for Team Denmark. Playing, I think he used to play Lizardman, or he did last year at least. And he played Dark Elves, even though the list says he played Beasts of Chaos. He played Dark Elves, and he had a level 4 Dark Magic, and he had a Dreadlord with the Executioner's Axe, 2 Assassins, the regular Manbane Running Stars Assassins, unit of Blackguards, and just a Cauldron, unit of 20 Crossbowmen, stuff like that. And I felt from the beginning that this is a good matchup for me, because the Blackguard, when they go into I was kind of hoping he would have some hubris with the Blackguard and just run straight into the Storm Vermin, and I would hopefully have Death Frenzy on them, and they would just slaughter the Blackguard when they...
Now we're losing you.
We're losing you a bit.
Strike back.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. He had a Blackguard, and I was hoping that he would think that they would slaughter the Storm Vermin, even though I had Death Frenzy on the Storm Vermin. You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I was hoping to get Death Frenzy through early on, because he got the first turn and he just ran at me with everything. 10 inches forward with the Blackguard, who at that point contained the Executioner's Axe and 2 Assassins. And he put the Vard save on the unit, the right move. Because then I threw everything I had at the Blackguard unit. I cast a Scorch at them. I guess the Warp Lightning Cannon fired at the unit of... He had a unit of Cold One Knights. And I got the Pie Plate dead on the unit, 6 hit. I did 1 wound, so that was kind of disappointing, but what are you going to do? At least it was a hit. Yeah, so he kept running at me.
Your sound is not
wrong choice.
This
okay.
won't work.
Oh, I don't think.
Are you downloading or uploading? Check your.
No, I'm not. No, nothing. I have nothing running in the background. I'm not sure what it is.
It's kind of strange, because it used the 2 times before it's worked, pretty good.
Yeah.
Strange. Well, I guess I can just run through my armies and hopefully it will be manageable.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anyway, so what I should have done from the start, because what I did was that I was holding on to the...
As soon as you start to talk about something important, it's like...
should I try to reconnect Skype?
Yeah, try to reconnect Skype.
Yeah.
Try that.
Okay.
So, then there's just you and me.
Yeah. And
Okay.
others. Yeah.
Okay?
You hear me?
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
Try to
So
continue.
let's try it again then. Anyway, what my plan was from the beginning to try and lure out his spell scroll, which I had by casting his spell. So it's not working. Oh, what the fuck?
You really can't do anything about it either, because you restart your computer and everything, so...
Yeah, I did.
Could you write it down and hold up a piece?
I have no idea what it's...
Now
max.
even the video's lagging.
Yeah, it's been like that all the time, if you haven't noticed. Every time he lags with the sound, it also freezes the...
Can we perhaps retake from where you left off or something?
I don't think it will.
No. Very good.
But a question, can we mix them together if we stop now and...
I don't know. I have no skill in the...
You have no skill.
I have no
That's
skill.
here.
Yeah, I have no skill. No, but I don't know much about videos. We can just run it. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Keep trying.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep trying.
But I to be honest, I thought it went better when we disconnected the video.
Yeah, I think so as well.
And now Anders is frozen.
Yeah. I can talk about the trip.
Okay, so...
Alright.
Is this better?
It sounds good right now.
Okay, I'm gonna try one last time then.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I assumed he had the Dispel Scroll on his level 4 Dark Mage. And what I was hoping to do was to lure it out by casting, for example, Death Frenzy. I was kind of planning on him realizing that the Storm Vermin were very tough with the Death Frenzy, and therefore he would dispel Death Frenzy with the scroll, and I could cast the Dreaded on the Black God with my last dice. What I should have done was realize that the Death Frenzy was more important in this game than the Dreaded, and I should have done it the other way around. I should probably have used the Power Scroll on the Dreaded and forced him to use the scroll on that one, so that I could ensure getting the Death Frenzy on the Storm Vermin, because what happened was that he came into the Storm Vermin unit with +1 attack from the Cauldron, and he just did too much damage to them. And I think this was the big mistake I did. Even though I had some luck, it could have ended really bad. It could have went to 20-0 to him.
Yeah.
Because behind the Storm Vermin were my Gracier block. But I had some luck, and I got slaves into the flank, and I thought, okay, I have the slaves in the flank, so I can hold them up, hold the Black God up, so if the Storm Vermin breaks, they will at least be engaged with the slaves. But eventually he got another unit into the slaves, a unit of 40 spearmen, so obviously the slaves broke. And at this point I only had the Warlord alive from the Storm Vermin unit. And he had maybe 6 or 7 Black God and all his characters left.
Alright.
And at this point, I can't remember why, but I wanted it was like this. Actually, that turn, the Warlord was in a challenge with his Dreadlord. And at that point, I thought, hey, what the hell, I'll use the Potion of Strength. So I had the Potion of Strength, and we were in a challenge. So he hits me first with 5 attacks, hits me 3+, with no reroll, because he has always strikes last, and he does 2 wounds to me with the Executioner's Axe. So I had the ward save, so I think he did 2 hits and 2 wounds, and I ward saved one of them, and it turned out to be 2 wounds because it's D3 wounds then. And I hit him back.
Right?
No, I think the Executioner's Axe is D3 wounds.
All right.
Yeah, and I hit him back, and I slayed the Dreadlord because he only had a 1-up save, which became a 6+ save because it's armor piercing, strength 7. So I killed the Dreadlord back, and of course that was a bit lucky. And I also stood on a 1/1 with the Warlord. No, actually, I stood on a 1/1 the turn before. This turn, I needed the Dreadlord the Warlord to die or not break, because if he broke, the Blackguard would be able to pursue into the Grazier unit.
All right.
And the Warlord broke, and I thought, shit, this is not good.
No shit.
The problem was that for him, the slaves blew up next to the Warlord and killed him. So we couldn't make the pursue move. We had a bit of a rules argument over that, but eventually Asker came over and ruled it so that he couldn't do a pursue move. So he was pinned in place. And that was the major luck I had in that game, and that was very lucky, I guess. I mean, that the lone Warlord got killed in that situation. So he obviously wasn't happy about that, and the game went on with me finishing off the Blackguard and him finishing off the Abomination, and my Brass Orb, per usual, missed what it tried to target. He tried to target the Cauldron by standing next to it and missed. And one thing that came up in this game that I think is interesting to discuss is when you play the rules wrong and someone next to the table comments on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for playing it the way it's supposed to be, but in this instance I had a unit of rat swarms that came up from the ground where the Abomination died, and he had an assassin with 1 wound, so I took a chance of charging him. And I don't know why, but we both played it like the slaves were strength 3 in that round. I just charged him, did 1 wound on a 4+. And most of the swarms are strength 2. Looking back to it, I mean, this is just basic stuff. But somehow we were both going for, okay, not a 4+, and I was like 4+, and I got the 4+ and killed the assassin. And like 2 or 3 minutes after that, when we calculated the points, his friend next to the table commented on that the slaves are only strength 2. And I mean, that's not a big deal.
Sometimes there are really big deals as well.
Exactly.
Or like people come by and commenting on how they play as well. Like, why didn't you charge there? Or shouldn't you throw that spell here? Or something. Yeah, things like that. Yeah, exactly. And
just to clarify one thing, you're talking about the rat swarms now, yeah?
Yeah, he's talking about rat swarms.
Yeah,
but he says
you're saying Skaven slaves because Skaven slaves are strength 3.
I mean, meant rat swarms.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I mean, the thing I feel as though it's supposed to be right. If they're strength 2 and we played it wrong and it made a difference in the game, I don't have any hard feelings that we change it, and oh yeah, of course you can put him back. My fault. But it's kind of an advantage for the guy who has his friend next to the table in some situations, because let's say he had charged my assassin with his rat swarms, and I had no one next to the table to tell me anything. We would have played it the same thing, and no one had commented on it, and my assassin would have been dead. So in that situation, he was the only one who could get an advantage. Yeah, benefit from it. And I'm not.
But I think it's your opponent's problem to handle a friend or someone commenting. The biggest thing is when there's a player commenting on the game that you don't know and he don't know.
Oh, exactly.
Then there's a big issue there.
Yeah.
Because the guy who gets the advantage, he can't just say, okay, let's skip it because this was my friend and he should have shut the hell up.
But
exactly.
it's not like that, because I know, talking to Asker about similar things, and I don't think in Denmark they don't have that kind of rule that non-playing players standing next to a table, they can interfere if people play it wrong. Because in Sweden we always have that rule that to the extent that the players are playing it right.
Yeah, but in Sweden, if for me the thing is that if I'm playing a game and we're doing like, okay, I don't know, like your game, wounding on 4+ instead of 5+.
Yep.
Then for me, I don't really see a big problem with someone commenting on it, because then we are playing against the rules.
Exactly, and I agree with that. I agree with that. I have no.
But in Sweden, we have the rule not to interfere in that instance.
No, not really.
Yes, we have.
But
you have run tournaments with that ruling, Hampus. So you shouldn't say that the rule doesn't exist in Sweden, because you were the one like introducing that rule into the Swedish.
Yeah, that's
match
true.
system,
That's true.
I think
to an extent.
The problem is when you have a leader table, or maybe a second, the table number 2, and the guys from the leader table are standing there watching, and they comment on something, and that's when you're starting to have a problem, when people who perhaps have an interest in something happening comments the game.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't have any hard feelings on this. I think it was good that it was cleared out the right way. And me and my opponent, we had a really clean game, nice game, a lot of fun. He was a great guy playing against, so no hard feelings at all. It's just that it's interesting to discuss this, because it's basically an advantage probably that only he has in this game. Maybe that guy would have commented. But the thing is, if
we will never know this, but if he made an error for his advantage, maybe his friend would have said the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. You don't.
He could have said,
no,
but
exactly.
don't your guys.
Exactly.
So and we will never know that. But for me, the big issue and why I introduced the rule was to make it very clear where the line is drawn.
Yeah.
Because you could say, for me, the thing you always want to say is that don't interfere in the game in such a way that there's an advantage for someone. If you're doing the rules wrong, then to be real honest, the best thing is if you had a judge at each table and who just said, no, you can't do that. No, he's strength 3.
No, exactly.
And then the game would be perfect. Then it's up to the players to do their best, or just to have plain luck.
Yeah.
But we don't have that possibility, so therefore to make it to make a really sharp edge, I almost said, to draw the line, you say, okay, don't comment on the game at all.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Because
anyway.
Can
I?
Yeah, sure.
But just one. But for me, when I'm playing a game and someone says, or I'm just starting to hear that someone is wondering something, I usually say that, okay, if we're doing an error according to the rules, you can tell, but otherwise shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing to say. And I mean, in the end, I was just glad that we cleared it out, because then I wouldn't have played it wrong in any other games and stuff like that. So I mean, all in all, I just think it was good that he pointed it out. But it got me thinking about the phenomena, so to say.
I understand.
Yeah, that is a problem, because, as you said, you want to play it like that in the future, and that is a problem that we have in Sweden, that people are playing the wrong rules. Of course, that's a problem outside of Sweden, outside of Sweden as well, but the rules don't spread as well if you're not allowed to interfere, because some people always play on the lower tables, and the lower skill players are not strong players don't know the rules as good as the, for example, ETC players, and the rules won't spread there if you don't comment on the games on the other tables as well. So.
Oh, I agree. So to my game 3 then.
Yeah.
I felt at this point that I had a lot of luck in my game 1. in game 2. Well, not insane dice rolls, but I mean, I had the flow of the dice on my side, and I got to play a Norwegian ETC player, Joachim. Let's see if I have his entire name. Joachim Dreyer Jonsen on Orcs and Goblins, and I felt at the beginning of the game that Orcs is a matchup I shouldn't lose, but it's also a matchup I have difficulties getting 20 points from. And he had 2 big blocks, one of 40 Savage Orcs, and one of 40 regular Orcs, big ones with additional hand weapons. So he had to.
Did he have 40 Orcs? Savage?
40 Savage Orcs, not big ones. Just
not
40.
big ones. Okay.
But he had 40 Savage and 40 big guns, not Savage
exactly.
big guns.
Okay.
And he had a Giant, an Arachnarok Spider, 2 the Mangler Squigs, a Doom Diver, a Rock Lobber, a Warlord, Night Goblin BSB in a unit of 40 or 20 Night Goblins, I can't remember, and they had 2 Fanatics, I think, or maybe 3, 2 or 3 Fanatics, and a level 2 with the Orc level 2. And I felt that was a good matchup for me, and I also got to deploy. I had +1 on the roll, and I won the roll, and I managed to get my Doom Wheel up on a flank where it only had 6 Trolls, a Giant, and a Mangler Squig to play with. And I got in a position where it was 14.2 inches from a Mangler Squig and 14.4 inches from the Giant. So I was kind of hoping for a good shot there. And the Abomination went up against the big ones. And the Doom Wheel misfired and took a wound, or 2 wounds maybe. And I think in that situation, if it hadn't, for example, if I'd rolled 6, 8, or 10 on the strength, that would have been a good game. Because then that Doom Wheel would have just destroyed that flank.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And his turn 1, his Mangler went 16 inches through the Doom Wheel and killed it. And then I had some problems because I didn't really have anything to counter the Mangler on that flank, except for the Gut Runners, who I had decided to come in from the sides. And they didn't come in the next turn either. And I guess in his turn 2, the situation was that he had flanked my Abomination with his 40 big ones. Maybe they were like 35 at this point. I think I had shot something at them. And he went 16 or 15 inches with his next Mangler through the Abomination, doing 4 wounds. And that was the big turning point in the game, because hadn't he done those 4 wounds, I had the Abomination in the BSB range.
Yes.
The Abomination would have slaughtered the big ones.
Yeah, they are strength 5 when they're charging. So
yeah, exactly. So he has to survive the first turn, which I think he does with full wounds.
No.
But no, he didn't have a chance. No, he only gets
flank, it's 60. That's 18.
I think he's got like 20 attacks maybe. He hits. Let's say he hits 15.
Yeah.
Let's say he hits 15.
Yeah, 7 wounds. Yeah.
And then it's 7 wounds. So yeah,
that's 4
he
wounds after.
Maybe 4 wounds.
Yeah.
And then he has a lot more problems hitting it. And I also had a Storm Vermin unit who could counter charge. So I was like, okay, the Abomination stays there, and then I got my Storm Vermin in there. The problem is that the Mangler Squig not only did 4 wounds on the Abomination, it ended up right next to the Abomination, where the Storm Vermin was going to stand. And the Storm Vermin had already lost like 10 guys to 2 turns of Death Frenzy. So I was like, okay, if I go into this combat with the Storm Vermin next turn, and he gets to do 3d6 strength 6, that's not a good thing, because then I have no chance of having Steadfast if he wins the combat.
Yeah.
And the same turn, I blew up my Greyseer after the turn before I blew up my Warlock Engineer. So at this point, it was starting to look a bit grim for the Skaven.
Yeah.
And then the following turns was just an exercise in terror causing against the slaves, because he made 2 units flee up the table each turn with his Giant and the Arachnarok Spider. He was like, okay, so the Giant charges that slave unit. Okay, it failed. It fled off. Okay, so it charges that slave unit, and it failed its terror test and fled off. And the Ragnarok did the same thing. So up until that point, I had gotten like 650 points off of him, and that was the points I got, and he got basically my entire army except for my BSB and my gut runners. So it ended up 1 against 19. So I had 2 lucky games, and I think 1 game that I didn't really have the luck with me. But I mean, you can't really focus on that either. But after analyzing the tournament, I felt that I can't really blame it on the luck or bad luck, which I think is nice at least. But it was a good guy. He played very well, and I had a lot of fun in this game. Even though I had some bad luck, I think from turn 2 or something, we were both just laughing at it. so that's good. And then game 4, I played against High Elves, and this is a game that I thought I had won in turn 2, because I think my turn 1 I killed an entire unit of Silver Helms and a BSB.
You played with Silver Helms?
Yeah, I shot them with the Warp Lightning Cannon. He had them like 4 and a 4, and then he had a BSB. Yeah. So they were 5 wide times 2 with the characters, and I hit them dead center with the Warp Lightning Cannon, and he failed Lookout Star with his BSB, and I killed it, and I killed like all the Silver Helms except for 1 or 2.
Right.
I guess except for 2. And he also failed the panic test with his with that unit, so that they just fled away. And then he had a unit of 18 White Lions and 14 Swordmasters, I think. And I was like, they can both charge the Stormvermin. I don't care, because Stormvermin, if I get the Death Frenzy through, it's all right. The problem is that the Prince rallied, and we kind of touched each other's armors a bit those turns. He went in with White Lions in the Stormvermin, and he got an Abomination into the White Lions, and he got the Swordmasters into the flank of the Abomination, and I think I killed both the Swordmasters and the White Lions. The Swordmasters had taken some casualties to the Gut Runners, which was also kind of interesting, because my plan was to kill his Dragon Princess with my Doom Wheel, so I ran it up one flank, and I had the Gut Runners on the other flank. The problem is that the scenario was 2 portals, one in each corner, one in the Doom Wheel corner and one in the Gut Runner corner, and these portals worked as buildings. And if you were in one of the portals, you counted as being in both of them at the same time. And we realized this when it was time for my Doom Wheel to start firing at the Dragon Princess, because the Gut Runners was in the portal on one side, and they counted on as being on the other side as well. So the Doom Wheel was just standing, shooting at the Gut Runners in the portal, which was kind of a bad move by me, but I have to say I forgot the scenario.
But you had both Silver Helms and Dragon Princess in his army.
Yeah, 5 Dragon Princesses. So when the prince rallied, he started moving towards the Dragon Princess, and I got 1 shot with the Warp Lightning Cannon. I did 2 wounds on him, and then he managed to join the Dragon Princess. And by now I had just killed the White Lions. And when I did, I was considering going 5 deep with 5 wide with my Stormvermin to avoid being seen by the Dragon Princess and the Prince. But I thought, I have Death Frenzy on the unit, and I think they were like 25 strong. I'll let him charge me. The Prince only has 1 wound left, and I think I can do a lot of damage to the Dragon Princess. But the Dragon Princess just tore through the Stormvermin completely, and this was the second time I think I did the mistake of being too cocky with the Stormvermin. I should have just played it cool and not have taken the chance of the Dragon Princess charging me. But he did, of course. That was his last chance of doing it, and he went through the Stormvermin straight into the Grazier unit.
Oh.
And I was like, crap, this is no longer 20-0.
That's really bad play.
Yeah, I know. I mean, on the other hand, if I did 9 wounds on the Dragon Princess, and then he has a 3+ save, and had he failed 1 save, I would have been steadfast.
Yeah, all right.
But only with leadership 7 and reroll. So I mean, it still wasn't a good move. Yeah. I was kind of expecting more damage.
Like that.
No, but talking about it right now, I don't really know what I was thinking. I was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to get these Dragon Princes if I don't get them with the Stormvermin, so I might as well just lure him him in, and I had some counter charges set up. I think the Warlord was ready to get in with the Potion of Strength in the side of the Dragon Princess as well. But he went into the Gracehair block, and I was like, okay, now I have to throw all my dice and just hope the Stormman gets a Dimensional Cascade, so that I get to place the Strength 10 template over that unit and just take them off, because I'd rather just sacrifice my Gracehair and take his Prince and the Dragon Prince off. But of course, I didn't miscost anything. And he tore through that unit. Yeah, he tore through that unit, and this was also an annoying thing, because I had a Doom Wheel next to that unit, but he had when he realized the Gut Runners were getting shot off, he went back, but he misfired, and he only had 2d6 movement, so he was really slow. But eventually, the last turn, he got into the Dragon Princess, and he killed the Dragon Princess and the Prince. So I got some points there, and the game ended 11-9 to me. So I'd say I played badly, and I was a bit lucky.
Then it's like usual. Business as usual.
I'm not sure what I mean, sounds like I played really bad this tournament, but I think I played it good. I was just too cocky with the Stormvermin, and that's what I was punished by. So I guess.
So you don't only play bad, you don't realize that you play bad.
No, I guess not.
Or you play bad, you realize that you play bad, and then you convince yourself that you don't do it. So
exactly, that's a bad combination. No, but I've analyzed the games, and I know where it went wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, then came Game 5 against Demons. I played Marcel, a German guy we got to know very well. Yeah, Marcel Arend, or Arend. He played Demons, a pretty hard demon list with a Demon Prince of Khorne. And the Demon Prince got a lot of extra points this tournament, so he had like a 3+, the Armor of Khorne, the Ether Blade, and the Immortal Fury and Fly and stuff like that. So it was a really, really hard Demon Prince. He also had a level 2 with all the spells in Heavens, and the 10 horrors, 2 units of 20 Bloodletters with the Herald each, one with the Obsidian Armor and Banner of Sundering, the Great Standard of Sundering, and the other one with the Firestorm Blade. And then he had 6 Screamers and 6 Fiends, and a unit of Furies. And I thought that game was going to be a good matchup for me, and he got first turn. I think maybe I got first turn, and I think I got first turn, and I shot his Fiends with my Warp Lightning Cannon, and I actually killed 2 of them, and did 2 wounds to the third one.
Was it a straight hit, or?
No, the template hit only 3 of them, but I think it was strength 8. And the funny thing with this game is that I think Marcel passed maybe 5 Bard saves the entire game. So he was, I mean, we were just laughing about that as well. And we knew both that we weren't in the runnings for top 10 even, so we just had a nice game at the end. Anyway, I pushed the slaves forward, and he charged them, I think 19 or 20 inches with his Fiend. And at that point I had the Doom Wheel next to the slave, so I was kind of happy with that charge. He went in, did some damage, and in my turn the Doom Wheel charged him. And eventually I killed the Fiends. And the game went on. I pushed the Stormvermin again, but this time I was fairly certain they could beat I think it was like 15. This time they had Death Frenzy. I had Scorched, the Blood unit, I think 1 or 2 times, so they were like 15 or 12 left with the BSB, and he had the Sundering Standard, which was really annoying me. And he charged. And he also had a Demon Prince with flying, as I said, and I popped the Storm Banner, so he couldn't counter charge. He didn't reach, or I think he might have been behind the Bloodletters, so he couldn't charge. But he charged anyway, and the Stormvermin just tore through the Bloodletters. So everything was going very, very well for me. And then came the hero of the game, my Warlock Engineer with the Brass Orb, who had been absolutely worthless in all my games up until this, because he hit nothing in the previous games of worth. Maybe he killed like a unit, like a rank and file here and there. But in this game I put him, the Gut Runners and him on opposite sides of the horror unit. He had the horrors with the herald and the gut runners in front of them, and my brass orb guy next to them. And the brass orb guy stood so that a misfire would hit the demon prince, and a hit would hit like 8 horrors and the herald. Of course, he missed, scattered 10 inches straight back to the bloodletters, and I think that helped with reducing their numbers a bit. I think he killed like 3 bloodletters or something. Anyway, so next turn, I tried to charge the horrors with the gut runners in the front, because this turn I also shot at the horrors with the gut runners. So I had killed like 3 horrors. I think there were 7 horrors and 1 herald left in the unit till next turn then. And then I charged them with the gut runners, and I charged them with the brass orb guy in the side. The gut runners, I think they needed 3 inches. I mean, a 1 and a 2 to reach the target, and of course I rolled a double 1. So only the brass orb guy reached the combat. And he wiped the horrors with the herald on 1 round of combat.
How
so
the fuck did he do
that? That was just crazy. That was just insane. He passed.
How many were there when he charged?
7 horrors and the herald, I think. Maybe 6 horrors. But I think he rolled like a double 6 for the leadership test, so most of them were just pops.
Yeah, of course. He only has 2 attacks, so...
And I also think that he had formed them...
1 attack only.
I think so.
I think to be able to like avoid something, I think he had put them 4 wide, so he wasn't steadfast either.
Ah, okay.
So the brass orb guy just popped them, and that was kind of funny. He was just running around hunting stuff after that. And we called him Master Yoda. He was like running behind the demon prince, like, "Have at you, just come face me, you coward!" But that was a funny game, and I ended up winning 20-0. And I think the only points that Marcel got was my warp lightning cannon, who misfired and blew himself up. So I was kind of happy with getting the only points of the game. So all in all, I had a couple of miscalculations and some luck and some bad luck, and I'm not sure why I did so poorly, because I ended up in, I think it was 29th place, which was kind of far from my expectations. But
First
we're going to talk about that soon.
28th place is wrong, I guess. But then again, I was only like 9 points after you won, and the soft scores turned out to make a big difference, and I almost aced the quiz. And I also did Johan's homework as well.
Yeah.
And that was kind of funny, because I had prepared very, very well for the tournament. I had downloaded some 2nd and 3rd edition bestiaries and stuff like that. And some of the questions turned out to be about the 2nd and 3rd edition. The problem was that I hadn't thought about the fact that I don't have internet on my phone in Denmark. So I couldn't access all my documents. So they were of no use. But so the quiz went well. I had 5 really good games. But
the quiz was, could you look through internet or what?
The thing was that the questions was very FAQ based. It was like, if you have this spell on you and you boost your guy with this spell, which one comes into play first? And questions that you kind of know are answered in the FAQ. But since we didn't have access to the internet, we didn't have access to the FAQ, because we hadn't brought the FAQs for the other armies with us.
Okay.
But I remember that my opponent, the first game, Morten, he had the FAQs when we played. I saw them in like a plastic sheet. So I went and asked him if I could borrow them, and I could. So he was an absolute gentleman, and we managed to score all the rules questions completely right, because it turned out all the questions in the quiz was just questions asked in the FAQs. So getting the points.
But did you work together?
Yeah.
I think I did.
You did all my questions.
Yeah, I think I did all.
So why didn't you get the same points?
Obviously,
you didn't have the same questions.
I didn't want to give him any edge, so I answered some of them wrong. We're just kidding. No, we didn't have the same questions. No.
Are you kidding? You didn't get the same questions? No?
Excited.
They mixed up questions.
Okay. But how did you think... for me, hearing this, I think that the quiz is kind of meaningless.
But then again, it forces people to. I mean, if you haven't brought the FAQs, if you haven't brought the FAQs, you're at a disadvantage, and I mean, that's all fine with me.
Yeah, true. But I think it's better to this is kind of, you don't have to learn. You only have to bring them with you or have internet.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, the quiz, it's 15 battle points in this tournament. You don't want anyone to just be lucky and get the advantage just by, knowing what leadership a troglodyte has. I mean, that shouldn't be the deciding factor.
But still, to looking at the scores from looking at the guys who scored the best at 14 points and you at 13, you are like 5-6 points above average. So it's a lot on the tournament.
Yeah, sure, and especially when the soft scores are so important, I think it's way better to have like a 15 max, and then you have, but you have 20 questions, or you have 15 questions and only count 10 points, because then you can have some wrong answers, especially, for example, on the Troglodyte leadership from 3rd edition. It doesn't matter to anyone at all, and to be the deciding factor of who wins the tournament, I think that's kind of strange, because some people, for example, had less time because they went for lunch further away or something like that, and I think it's strange that it should matter on those kind of things on a tournament, who wins the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I'm bringing Lasse back. You can sound like a robot now. It's no problem. Mute your mic also.
Oh yeah.
But a couple of other things. I wasn't there, so how was the venue? How was the sleeping arrangement? Did they have a shop? You talked about the other games there, and what kind of food, and how did everything work?
They had the venue was like it was a badminton hall, I think, badminton and volleyball training ground or something like that. And we slept in the women's changing room, on the floor. First night I didn't blow up my air mattress. That was a fucking mistake. But yeah.
Nagging like an old lady the day after. My back hurts. My back hurts. It's like you have 59 points.
You really can't have you started to lag again.
Let him lag. They can see him at least. Yeah. His face.
It's pretty boy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But
if you're comparing it to Swedish tournaments,
I like when it's like you can see every table. It's open. Some tournaments in Sweden are in like different rooms and things like that. I don't like that. I prefer when it's like in a sports hall, or what's it called? Yeah, in a sports venue.
A larger hall.
Yeah.
I think that they had very nice terrain, but the tables weren't that good. They were just plywood sheets painted green.
Yeah.
What did you say? The terrain was good, but the tables were pretty bad.
Yeah, like
not bad, but
like
I mean
the board that you play on.
Yeah, I understand. It's like not. I don't want to throw any crap around, but some tournaments in Sweden have just a poorly painted board and then good terrain.
Yeah. But I prefer it like that.
Yeah,
I mean, for example, we in Uppsala have glued sand on our boards, and it is hard to move your models on it. It takes time, and the models fall apart all the time if you don't have magneted bases or trays, and I don't know. For me, the gaming experience aren't that important on how the board looks. It's more like it's easy to move.
You're very experienced in playing. You're very experienced in playing.
Playing.
But I think
without movement trace.
Oh yeah, I'm quite experienced in that, especially after this tournament.
But did they have a shop also? Could you buy like
sausage?
Soft drinks and sausages.
Yep.
Okay.
How could you hear that from that side? I can't hear shit.
I'm just
really reading on the lips.
Yeah, reading lips.
Can we
Lip
just?
sync here.
I'll just close my video because if you can't hear me, it's.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
We tried at least.
Yeah,
But
we're
I
obviously.
want to talk about something. But do you have anything more to add regarding
The shop was good. The venue was also good, and even though there were a lot of players there, I don't think that the volume got that high that it disturbed you, and you had a lot of spaces between the tables as well. So everything was really nice about the venue.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was.
Sounds good then.
Yeah.
It wasn't too warm inside either. It was kind of warm in the evening, but it was not like at the ETC.
My game won. I was sitting and I felt a drop of water on my arm, and I wasn't that sweaty at that point. I wasn't sweaty at all actually, and I was like, "What? Where does this come from?" And I was like, "I must have imagined it." And then another drop hit my other arm, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then it just started raining on me. It was very strange. It was like just raining on me, nowhere else. And I was like, the table wasn't wet or anything. It was just me getting wet. And I looked up and I realized that one of the ceilings in the roof was open, and it was right above my head. So I was getting rained on. That was kind of a strange experience. It's like outdoors Warhammer indoors.
Okay, but one thing, you have to describe your trip back home then. But first, I wanted to discuss something about the tournament, and that is the live score. This doesn't really have anything to do with the live score. This has something to do with tournaments doing new things or trying to give the community a better experience and then failing completely.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to follow the tournament on the live score they had. So I worked a little bit on Saturday, and I had my computer next to me, and I looked at the live score and nothing came up. And I thought, didn't the game started? The game should have been over like 1 hour ago or something. So I had to look at the schedule, and I saw, the game should have ended like 1.5 hours ago. But after game 2, both game 1 and game 2 came up on the live score. And then nothing happened during day 1. The game 3 came up on Sunday morning, and that's it. Then nothing appeared on Sunday. And I talked to Asker on Twitter and said that we really would like to have the scores for this show. And then things started to appear like in the middle of the day today. I think we got the scores. Or was it yesterday?
It was today, I think.
I think it was today. And for me is that if they didn't have live score, I wouldn't have anything to complain about. But now they said they were going to have it. They are offering it, and then it's just crappy. And I think this is something organizers should learn from. If you're gonna give something more or something new to the community, you have to do it right. You have to pull it through, or I'm not sure how to say it in English. You have to follow it through.
Yeah.
If you're not certain that you can provide this service, don't offer it from the beginning.
No, I agree.
Because I
they
just
need
got
to try it out as well, but they maybe shouldn't commercialize it as if they gonna do
no,
it
and if it doesn't work, if there is a problem, put the result up on a forum like the Warhammer forum or some other place where people can find it. And if it's like a tournament in Denmark, for fuck's sake, put up the result on the forum Power Fist, where the tournament is being announced.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't that hard. And if you're doing a tournament and you're not saying that you're going to have any results up on any forum or offering anything, then it's fine. You didn't have the intention of doing it, so then it's okay.
No one will miss it.
No, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree. And then again, the coverage from the venue, inside the venue, they had like text messages going out when the next round was about to start, and they had really big screens where you could see the scores and stuff like that. That was very nicely handled.
Yeah, those things are great. It's hard, English language.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we talk a little bit about the lists and the predictions, we have to hear about your trip back home.
Yeah, it was kind of strange. We hadn't, as we said before, we didn't sleep very well the first night, and then the second night we didn't sleep very well either. So we had like we got something like 10 hours of sleep in 3 days. Yeah. And that was kind of stupid of us because we were going to drive home 7 hours. So after the tournament, we went to this. It was a really great China buffet. What you say in English?
Buffet.
That was really sweet. It was like 80 Danish crowns. And it was
the best buffet ever. I mean, that was just insane how good that buffet was.
Yeah.
Serious, that is.
Was it better than the place in Västerås?
Thai fast food?
Yeah.
No, not if you. There was no dish at the buffet that could beat a dish at Thai fast food restaurant next to my place here. But the just the amount of different. I mean, they had like 10 kinds of shrimps, and they had like the ones that that kill the rainforest, the king shrimps, and like mussels, and I mean. Just so much, and like
sushi
it's
6 different kinds of ice cream.
Yeah, they had like nougat sorbet and stuff like that, and it's a good buffet when they have the pineapple. It's from a fresh pineapple. They have like
freshly
cut off the exactly, not the canned pineapple, but fresh pineapple, and just all kinds of different things, and we were like. Just going berserk.
Yeah. and then the clock came to like what could it have been? Quarter to
maybe 7.
Yeah, 7.
Yes,
around there. And then we just like maybe we should try to get home now. So we took the bus to the central station, took the train back home to Sweden in Malmö, and then we did one stupid thing because when we. or the stupidest thing we have already made because we parked the car in Malmö without having any idea on where we parked it. No idea.
Yeah,
we had like maybe one name that we wasn't sure about.
No, exactly, and I think that was kind of stupid because we were so focused on getting to the right train station in Malmö. To get to the or the right bus station to get to the right bus leading to the central station.
Yeah.
That we totally forgot to look what street we parked the car. And Malmö is bigger than you think.
When you start
Malmö
walking,
actually, we walked for maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Just and. We were
asking people random questions. People got afraid of us.
Yes, exactly. We were like, it looks like this, and we think there was a shop like this there. And the thing is that we were pretty sure that the bus station that we took to the central station only was like 10 minutes from the central station. So we had like an area of maybe 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes walk from the central station, but we didn't know what direction. So I think that we were insanely lucky only having to walk like an hour and a half. Yeah. Because we could have been there all night.
Yeah. And then when we reached the car, it was like, what could have been, like 9 o'clock or something like that?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. Then we start to drive back home, 7 hours drive, in the middle of the night, and we hadn't slept for, more than 10 hours in 3 days. And I was like really scared that I was gonna start to sleep behind the wheel. But then when I took the wheel, the clock was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that.
I think that it was 2 o'clock, pretty much exactly when you started driving.
Yeah. And the second that I sat behind the wheel, I was like clear waking. There was no chance in hell that I was gonna fall asleep, because I was just clear-minded. And it was kind of strange, because I should have been really sleepy and drowsy and things like that, but I was just clear as a crystal clear. Yeah.
It was kind of interesting, because the second I sat down in the passenger seat, I fell asleep. Just crazy trip home. Such a long day.
Yeah.
I think we arrived here maybe 4 o'clock, half past 4.
Yeah. And we didn't even,
something like that.
We were like too tired in the car to talk to each other, because we had talked about in the weekend, and it was like.
But I had a really good Christmas playlist, so the first couple of hours we were just singing along in Christmas songs, and I mean we had like such a holiday atmosphere in the car, and I mean that was just great.
Yeah.
You're so retarded.
Yeah, so all in all, it was a great weekend, and I'm still tired from it. And
it was great.
Yes, I'm very disappointed at my results, but what are you gonna do? If you play bad, you end up bad.
Yeah.
But before we take the predictions, I just wanted to talk. What did you say?
Can we just skip the predictions?
No, we're gonna talk about the predictions.
We already know you have the best guess.
And I think that's really important to talk about. But what? Two other things. I just want to get your input on looking at. I did a fast average on the painting and the sportsmanship, and looking at the sportsmanship, there is the guy who won the best sportsman. Gets 10 more points than the average player, who got the average player got 3 in sportsman, and the best sportsman got 13 points, so 10 more.
Yeah.
And also, if you look at painting, the guy who won best painting, or I'm not sure if he won, but he got the highest points. He's 19 points ahead of an average army at the tournament.
Yeah, that's both of them are way too high.
In my opinion as well.
That's a big advantage. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, for example, next year, if we just like.
But isn't it okay if the tournament is very clear about the points? I mean, we've tried similar things in Sweden, or at least. People don't know him, but Stefan Benmannen, he tried to make tournaments where the soft scores, or where the opponents give you sportsmanship and painting.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is pretty good, but it's hard to make people adapt to it.
The problem isn't the system. The soft scores, the basic idea is really good, but you can't have a player getting 19 points more than the average player. That's
2 games.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 2 games. Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's
2 average games. So.
And also the sportsmanship as well. I mean, yeah, you should get lots of points if you're a good sportsman, but I mean, 10 points more and 19 points more. I mean, the best sportsman, if he had also won the best painted, he would have like automatically won the tournament.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you really just want to win the best painted, for at least for us outcomers, we could just like pick a really nice army in Sweden, like borrow it from Primo Victoria, for example. If we can manage to borrow it and then explain that we have actually painted it and we can win best painted. There's no way that any other player can even come close to us winning the tournament. if an ETC player do that. They can do it in Denmark as well, because we wouldn't have a clue if they wanted to do such a thing. It's really bad, and I would never do it, of course, but you can do it if you're an outsider. So
it would be really great. It would be really great to get one or two from the organizing team handling the Giant Fanatic, and just to talk about our point of view and just to hear their take on it.
Yeah,
I think that would be good.
Yeah, probably.
We'll see if we can manage. We didn't get a guest today. It was too short time.
Yeah, Asker is a busy man.
Yeah, I know.
I think we tried to get a hold of. I mean, we tried to discuss the details, but we were kind of having too much fun and being too drunk, so we didn't really get around to that.
Yeah, but I'll talk to him and see if we can maybe do it on the next show. I think we won't do a show next week, but we will do one after the tournament Shadow Games. All three of us are going there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
And
I think I'm going to end up in 20th place this time.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's my prediction.
But I want to, just before we end this, this is the paper of truth. This is the predictions. And we can start off with Anders. You said that you're going to win the tournament and that Lage is going to come second.
Yeah.
So I think we can all assure that you're the loser here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really argue with that, I guess.
No. Then we have Johan. You said that Anders would end up on 3rd place and you on 5th?
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty good. But no. But if we look at my predictions, I said that you're going to end up in 8th place and Anders in 29. It looks like a 4, but it should be a 29 there.
Yeah. Yes.
No, but kidding aside,
of course.
I was the closest. I don't win a beer, but I was the closest.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. So we will be back in episode, let's see here.
4.
It's episode 4.
Yeah.
And we're going to discuss an army, at least, and some other things. We're not really sure. We're doing this as it goes.
Yeah.
We will continue to talk about an army on each episode from here on, and try to invite guests and set it up.
Yeah. Hopefully next episode we can have a guest on.
Exactly. So, anything else to add?
No.
Would like to excuse for the technical difficulties today.
Yeah.
The settings haven't worked at all for us. When the thing is, I screen captured the Skype calls, and that's why you fuck up even my and Hampus faces here. And yeah, Anders aren't even in the call, so yeah.
That was kind of.
But this is a special.
Yeah, this is a special special episode, so it's special in all kinds of way.
It's straight from the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight from the box, not outside the box.
No, exactly.
But then, yeah.
Keep giving us feedback.
And also a shout out to the guy that actually came up to us during the Giant Fanatics and said, "Hey, it's you guys. It was really nice to meet you, and I hope you continue to listen. And I hope more guys, if you see us, come up and say hello, because it's really fun to see that people are watching the show, and to meet you guys in person, it's worth a lot to us, really."
Yeah. And to the organizers of Giant Fanatic, I think from next year, please release the tickets during the day, or give me a ticket.
So you can come on last place.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, take care, and we'll meet up again in episode 4.
Yep.
See ya.